Hi everyone. So this is Real Talks with FG, and today we're on episode 10. I know, right? This is me testing my consistency, and I am trying so hard not to give up, to finish what I started. Hopefully we'll get to day 30, inshallah. So today I'm coming back with a follow-up to my previous video. If you have not yet watched it, please go check episode 8 where I talked about the African proverb that says that if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with someone else. And while I was watching the video and watching the replay of the video, and I started to reflect on something else. I remember growing up, I used to be that person who was always around people to the extent that I naturally attached my energy to being around people. I couldn't do anything on my own. And even remember while I was in the university, you would hardly ever find me alone. I was always in a group, not one, not two, a group of girls. I'm always in a group. I had difficulties going to places alone. I always wait for someone to go together with. So even when I get invitation to go to a party or to an event, I always want to tag along with someone. And it got me thinking about this. Some years back, when I moved for those of you who do not know, I am Nigerian. If you're just following my video for the first time, I reside in this island on the coast of West Africa called Cape Verde Island. It's not a popular place anyway. So, and I relocated here years ago in 2012. And I remember the first time before I traveled within the island, that's within the Cape Verde Island, they have like 9 other islands. Those are like states. It took me 10 years of living here to actually travel out to visit another island. I've always wanted to see other islands, but I kept on attaching my plans to other people's plans. I kept waiting for the right person to go with. I kept trying to wait for when my husband would be available to go with. And I waited 10 good years, yes. A lot of things happened along the line, but each year I had a plan, or I had this anticipation that I was going to, because I do love traveling. I love seeing different places. And one of my goals is to see all of the 10 islands while I'm still here. Anyway, back to my story. Today we're doing storytelling while we reflect. I waited 10 good years before I made that attempt to finally go on my own. It was the first time I would do something like that. I wasn't sure how the trip was going to be. But all my mind, I kept thinking that all this trip was only going to be fun if I go with someone else. That was all I had in mind. I wasn't thinking about how much fun I also have in me and how much I could enjoy it on my own. I didn't know what to expect, but I took that leap of faith. After waiting for so long, I woke up one day and I realized that I would probably have to wait much longer. My husband is always working, and he's not so enthusiastic about traveling. He's always traveling for work and all of that. But I needed to do this for me. And other people that I had planned this trip with, I planned it with a few friends, so many friends. Something happens at the last minute that we end up, Anyway, back to this, the main point of this. I eventually took the leap of faith and I went for this trip. And it was is still one of the best trip ever for me. I guess maybe because it was that first time for me going out and doing my thing. I went to Sal Island, a beautiful island in Cape Verde. I think for me it's one of the most beautiful islands in Cape Verde. It has so many natural beauty, so many amazing wonders that you will look at, and there's such nature. If you're a nature person, there's everything there. You have this part that is like a desert, you have the part that is like the mountains. It has everything on the island, the rocky parts, there's the blue ice, the blue eye, there's a shark bay. It was just a lot of fun. I had so much fun. I took a tour guide. I went with a group of tour guide, strangers, and there's also the salt lake where I floated on the water. It's extremely highly concentrated water with salt that you can't drown in that water. And anything that goes into the water just floats through due to the level of concentration in that water. And it was one of the most amazing trips for me. And I remember coming back from that trip and I kept asking myself, what if I had continued waiting? What if I had even gone with someone? I might probably not as have enjoyed it as much as I did. One of the things that made me enjoy it was the fact that I was just doing my thing. I didn't wait for validation from anyone. If I've probably been with my husband, I will be, a bit shy to do certain things because we don't have the same kind of energy when it comes to traveling. If I had gone with someone else, I'll probably have been, attached to that person's energy and we'll probably like, do you want to do this? You want to, but I didn't have anything to think about. I just went with the tour guide. I went with everything that they were doing. I was filled with so much adrenaline like I've never been before. I felt young. I felt alive. I remembered a lot of childhood. I think I found my inner child through that trip. And I'm sharing this why because sometimes also, in as much as we want to do something with other people, we should trust that we also can do great things with ourselves, especially when it comes to you doing something for fun for you, something that also not everyone can relate, or not everyone in situations where not everyone has that same passion or drive or that goal as you. And in this situation, you'd rather do it alone and have clarity on what you're doing and, find a reward in doing it for you for a certain reason than going with someone that will end up, pulling you down or dragging you behind, or it might even end up ruining everything for you. So I don't know what you think about this story. As I said, episode 10 is for storytelling, and I love to tell stories. I have so much stories to share, but this is my reflection for today. The purpose of these videos are just for me to have real honest conversations with myself and with anyone that is watching these videos, because I believe that we always learn from each other's experiences. And I believe that sometimes you just don't know what the knowledge and the wisdom that you share that someone else is waiting to hear. So if you are that person who's always wanted to do something, especially go have fun on your own, but you're always waiting for that person and you're still having waiting for the right time, the right person. Trust me, sometimes you just have to make that right time, the time you want, not the time that you are someone else with someone else's agenda. Work with how you feel, do it, even if you're scared, do it anyway. So that's my take home for today. Do enjoy the rest of your weekends, everyone. This is Real Talks with FG, and we are having one real honest conversation one day at a time. Bye bye.